Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot Readings, and I'm back today to do another collective reading. So throughout January I have been taking part in a tag on TarotTube called Back to Our Tarot Roots, where I've been using some of my old decks, and I thought as part of that I would do a reading from one of those old decks, which is this one, which is the Mystical Cats Tarot and the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards, and also actually my Archetype cards. So the spread that I chose is this one, and it's called the Sheild of Sekhmet from the Mystical Cats, and it's just 3 questions. What weakens you? What strengthens you? How can you best use your power? And this is for when you want to connect with the source of your personal power. So I just thought it'd be really interesting to have a go at this, really, because it's a nice, simple little reading, and it would give me an opportunity to use 3 of my old decks. So I hope everybody is well and everybody's good. If you've not seen my channel before, I also have another channel called Highly Sensitive Tarot, which I've had for just over 4 years. And on that channel, there's a lot of old readings on there, but it's mainly these days for my deck collecting. So you'll find videos, VRs, video responses, deck studies, walkthroughs, that kind of thing. This channel is purely for reading, and some of those readings will be for Virgo and some of them will be for the collective. This is a collective reading. So as per usual, if something about this video caught your eye, there may well be a message for you. Take what resonates and leave the rest. If you want to give something back, please do like, share or subscribe to my channel to help it grow. And I also have a wish list on my About Me page. If you wanted to give something back, that would be wonderful. But obviously, it's absolutely fine if not. I would just love that you connect with me, that you say hello, that you give me a thumbs up and you subscribe. So without further ado, let's get into the reading. So excuse me, let me move that. I'll put that on the floor, out of the way. There we go. So before we started, I thought I would I got Sekhmet out of the deck, the Goddess Guidance deck, because I thought it would be interesting to have a look at her card and have a think about who she is and her energy. So this says, be strong. You are stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. And Sekhmet is an Egyptian sun goddess. She's always associated with lions. I think she's often half lion, half woman. And it said in the little guidebook for this that you are the embodiment of strength, not victimhood. So don't underestimate yourself. Rise above old patterns of behaviour. And those old patterns of behaviour are the things that keep you small and not sitting within your power. So we have Sekhmet, so we'll put that off to the side. And I thought I would also pull an Archetype card while I was just sort of meditating on the energy. And I pulled Child of Nature, which is fascinating actually, considering we're looking at cats and lions and things like that. There are within this deck, within Caroline Myss's Archetype deck, which is this big chunky deck here, there are I think 6 child cards. There's like child eternal, magical child, orphan child, nature child, And these represent, one of these child archetypes would represent your core nature, one of your core archetypes, alongside various other cards in the deck. And then I think the idea is that you then pull other cards and you choose your own archetypes as a form of sort of personal development, which I have done in the past. It's very helpful. But I thought I would pull one for this reading. Like I said, we've got Child of Nature, which I thought was so fascinating. And what did we get? It was at the bottom of the deck, wasn't it? We also had Seeker. So, excuse me, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. And the shadow attribute is inability to commit to a path once found. But this is a real curiosity and a thirst for wisdom and truth. So these are the cards, the oracle cards that we shall use within this reading also. We'll put those over here. We'll move that. I think the Child of Nature is so beautiful. Friendship with animals and communication with nature spirits. I think that's so nice. It'll be interesting to see how that works out in this reading, won't it? Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat this morning, so I'll just clear my voice. So, for the collective, please, with the Sheild of Sekhmet, what weakens my viewer? For the collective, please, what weakens them? I absolutely love this deck. It's so cute, the mystical cats. I think it was one of the first decks that I bought when I started my other channel, actually. Oops. Send those over. So what weakens my viewer, please? What weakens them? We have the Ace of Cups and the High Priestess. Interesting. Wouldn't necessarily see the Ace of Cups as being something to weaken you, would you? So what strengthens you? What strengthens the collective, please, the viewer of this video? What strengthens them? We have Grace, which is Temperance. We have the Tower. Wow. And question number 3, how can you best use your power? How can you best use your power? How can you best use your power? And we have the 3 of Earth, 3 of Pentacles, and the Ace of Earth. We have 2 aces there. And what do we have at the bottom of the deck? We have Strength. Okay. How nice to have Strength at the bottom of the deck, as we're talking about personal power. So, for the first question, what weakens you? We have the Ace of Cups and we have the High Priestess here. So, the Ace of Cups is the essential sort of characteristic of the suit of water, isn't it? So it's about deeply felt emotion, intuition, a way of knowing that is also a feeling, really. You know, this is about things that flow and can sometimes be overflowing. It's a card of creativity, joy, sometimes can represent new relationships or something new starting, because it's an ace, isn't it? So if this is something that weakens you, it may be that your intuition, your emotions, because we also have the High Priestess here, who represents that sort of duality and a sort of an instinctive, hidden, intuitive sort of knowledge. This is a connection to the divine, a connection to yourself. You know, the High Priestess is not really asking us to do anything much. She's a state of being, isn't she? As is the Ace of Cups, actually, really. It's more a state of being. So these two cards together are making me feel very strongly that if this is something that weakens you, it's because perhaps you are a very intuitive and sensitive person who feels their emotions very strongly. And while that's not a bad thing in the slightest, if you don't have good boundaries around that with other people, it can start to take from you. You know, you can end up being a person that gives too much, that feels too much, that kind of senses and knows too much. And if you don't have proper protection for your own energy, if you don't have proper boundaries for your own energy, it can start to become something that harms you, while you're probably still doing good things for other people. Because I think if these are qualities that are weakening you, it's because you're giving too much of them to other people. Yeah, I'm just looking at these other cards that we've got here to see how they match up as well. And this is saying you're stronger than you think that you are, and that you're a person who's a seeker of wisdom. And the High Priestess is obviously a seeker of wisdom. The Ace of Cups is seeking that deeply felt emotional connection. So I think there's something in that, isn't there? There's something here around having good boundaries and having perhaps some kind of little ritual for yourself around cleansing your own energy. You know, if you're going to spend time talking to other people or listening to other people or supporting other people, I think it's very important to be aware of how that affects your own energy and being able to cleanse your energy once you're by yourself again. You know, when I used to be a mental health nurse, I used to have a little ritual for myself when I was a community nurse before I would go into people's homes, especially homes where I knew it was going to be chaotic and there'd be a lot of highly felt emotions, highly expressed emotions, where I was going to have my wits about me. I would wrap myself up in a blanket of protection. You know, I would sit and visualize in my mind, kind of casting a spell around myself, going round and round and round, wrapping myself up in a blanket. And that was my protection. That stopped their energy getting to me, and it stopped my energy leaking out onto them. Now, it doesn't always fully work, because sometimes you're dealing with people and situations are very emotional and that can affect you. But it's very, very important to protect your own energy. So question number 2 is, what strengthens you? And we've got grace here, which is temperance. So this is about peace and tranquility and moderation. It's a card of wanting the best, isn't it? It's a very tolerant energy, I think, temperance. And it's nice that we have the word grace here, because it is a state of grace, I think, temperance. It's wanting things to blend and moderate and balance and reach some kind of equilibrium. And it's a very, very nice energy. It's a fire energy. It's ruled by Sagittarius. And it's interesting, isn't it, that it's fire when we have all of this water here. And I think that there's a real strength in fire, isn't there? I would imagine that Sekhmet is a fire sort. Well, she's a sun goddess, so we have fire there. We have fire with the lions. There's a lot of strength embodied within fire elements. And this is a very gentle fire element that wants everything to feel okay. So I would say from this that you're really a person that's able to see both sides of something, that's not extreme in their views, that's very gentle and very life-affirming. Somebody that's very good at finding harmony and balance within any given situation. And we've got that here with the Tower, which is just fascinating, really. I mean, the Tower is fire again, isn't it? This is Mars energy. And this is something that, you know, the Tower is typically something that can just upend your life suddenly, without warning. There can be a catastrophe, something terrible happen. You know, they say, you know, that things that are not built on firm foundations can just suddenly collapse and fall apart. So maybe things are not always so sudden. And I bet that one of your strengths is being able to see these things before they actually really happen, you know, to see where there are cracks in the foundation, to see where things are being neglected, where things need a bit of attention, to stop this Tower moment, to stop these consequences of things. But I bet as a person that you're very, very good at dealing with the fallout of any kind of Tower moments, is my feeling here. You know, that immediate change, that shift, that you know, it can be to do with illness, ego, losses, disasters, all kinds of things. But I bet in your life, when you're dealing with other people, anyone who's in crisis, anyone who's going through something terrible, I bet you're able to see why. And I bet that you're able to see what needs to be put in place, what needs to happen, how to achieve this kind of state of grace and harmony and balance. You know, you're very intuitive, you're very in touch with your emotions, and you have a great deal of inner strength, you know. So I would imagine, it's my strong feeling here, that that is a real strength to you, is that you would be able to walk into any situation with anybody and offer those people comfort and strength and solutions. You know, you would be able to help them talk through what they need and how to find a way forward, you know. So question number 3 is, how can you best use your power? We've got the 3 of Earth here, so the 3 of Pentacles, and this is a card of teamwork and cooperation and sort of creativity, planning. There's a great deal of focus involved in the 3 of Pentacles. So perhaps this is saying that you can best use your power by sharing it, by allowing, by getting involved in various situations and using your expertise at planning and bringing people together in a way that's constructive to achieve something, to achieve a goal. And we've got the Ace of Earth here as well, the Ace of Pentacles, which is about abundance and stability, and, you know, it could be about good health, good investments, prosperity, security. You know, you could easily be a person who's working in a very caring field. You could be a nurse, a therapist, a good mum, a good daughter to your aging parents. You know, you are a person that helps people to bring about security and focus and to achieve the things in life that they want. You know, this 3 of Earth here is, it's like these 3 separate cats here. It's like 3 separate energies coming together to work as one. And I bet, again, that you're very, very good at inspiring and motivating people to get together and achieve something. I think that you're very concerned with security, firm foundations, having a solid base in life. I should imagine you're very knowledgeable about health and well-being. You know, you'd be a good friend, a person that people could come to talk to, and always be relied upon to have good advice, to have insight, to have intuitions, to have feelings, and to handle situations in a very caring and very, in a very caring but a very solution-based manner. And at the bottom of the deck here, we've got strength, which is brilliant. You know, we've got Sekhmet here with be strong. So strength here is, again, it's fire, isn't it? It's Leo. So we've got fire, fire, and fire here. The only card we haven't got on the table at the moment is a sword, isn't it? Actually, we've got no wands and we've got no swords. So we've got earth and we've got cups and we've got a lot of fire without having the wands. So in numerology, 8s are about kind of recognizing limitations. Come on, George. It's my little lion coming in. Yeah, they're about recognizing limitations and, you know, figuring out ways to move past things, you know, being able to dig deep, having some self-control, some self-discipline. And I often think that the bottom of the deck is really the key to everything, or it might be something that you're missing or you're not acknowledging within yourself. And I see you having immense amounts of inner strength here, you know, immense amounts of inner strength. And I think really the only issue I'm seeing here is that you're perhaps not taking care of your own state of mind or your own health and your own well-being by not having good boundaries, by not having good practices around protection. You know, like I said, when you see and you feel so much, that can end up being quite a burden. And if you're very good at dealing with other people's problems and knowing the right things to say and do, people will take advantage of that if you're not careful. So it's very important to have these good boundaries. Like I said, when I was a nurse, I used to wrap myself up in a blanket. When I used to get home from work, I used to take my clothes off and shower. And as I showered, I would visualize all of those people's troubles and worries just flowing down the drain and disappearing. And I would try as much as I could to nourish and nurture myself with things that were good for me in my time off. You know, these things are not always easy, because sometimes the problems or the issues you're dealing with are within your home, and they're not things you can so easily escape from. But still, this practice of having boundaries and protection, however that resonates for you. And I think that's what this card here is for, isn't it? It's the child of nature, that this friendship with animals and this communication with nature spirits is something that can be a protective force for you. So maybe it's important to get outside, to ground yourself, to have a pet, to feed the birds in your garden, to sit and be mindful of the bees and the butterflies in your garden when the weather gets better, obviously not in the winter. You know, just to take any opportunity to spend time around animals and nature. I think that that's very, very soothing to most people's souls. It's good for us on a holistic level. And I think particularly for whoever this is that I'm talking to here, because, you know, like I said, to have the Ace of Cups and the High Priestess come out together as something that weaken you, it means that your profound sense of emotion and intuition is something that can leave you feeling vulnerable. It can leave you vulnerable to other people's more negative energy. And it's very, very important, isn't it, to keep your vibration high and to not allow yourself to descend into those lower kind of vibrational energies. So yeah. And also with the seeker here as well, this thirst for wisdom and truth, you know, that's something that can be protective also, because, you know, you have a keen and curious mind. And if you're able to focus that on things that you know are healthy and good for you, as well as other people, then, you know, that's a big strength and a big positive, isn't it, for you? So how these cards have come out, I just think is great. The fact that we've got strength there with the Sekhmet strength. We've got the child of nature, the seeker. This is brilliant. This is a lovely reading. So I do hope that it resonated and that it was helpful just to think about these things a little bit more. Because I know, you know, throughout my life and with myself as well, anybody that feels things very deeply, that has some kind of sense of psychic sensitivity or intuition, anybody who has this deeply felt emotion is quite vulnerable to the toxic influences of life, of which there are many. So to have good boundaries and little rituals for yourself around protection are very, very important. But this is beautiful, and you're clearly a beautiful person. So this is a lovely reading. I'm sending you all my love. Please do give me some feedback, and I will see you all again soon.